You get to sit in the middle because
Oh,
you're
I'm
in the middle of the picture.
Oh, okay.
Wherever you want to sit.
That's your picture, though.
Okay.
Okay.
You're wearing the same
Oh, yeah,
shirt.
you're right.
Are you guys wearing the same outfits?
See?
It's amazing.
I have like 20 of these shirts. I love
Okay.
them. It's like my favorite shirt.
That might be my same shirt.
I think you guys are wearing the same outfit.
I think this has black in it. Guys, I have black in mine.
That's hilarious.
That is so funny.
Called each other and planned it out.
I know, we did. We're like, make sure you look like your picture.
Oh, that's funny. I love
Curl
it.
my hair though.
Wear what's in your picture.
Well, I know I kind of already introduced myself, but I do want to just share a little bit more about why we're here, how I got started at A&N. So I've been here now 5 years. I started as an intern when I was 20, a baby. And then I started originating in 2022, and now I'm a VP. So it's been a wild ride. 5 years has felt like, like less than that, but also like decades at the same time. So it's been awesome. Before that, I was a D1 gymnast at Illinois State University. So that was my life before real estate. And I just fell in love with the same kind of hustle that real estate has, similar to sports. And 5 years later, here we are. So I do also want to introduce my co-moderator, Brad Byer.
Hello, my name is Brad. I'm a loan officer here at A&M Mortgage. I've been here now for 5 years. Probably the best decision I ever made to come to join this company. It's been a blessing.
Yeah.
I got to learn and work directly underneath Nina. I don't know if anyone knows Nina or say hi, Nina.
Hi, everybody.
Nina's amazing. She's one of the top producing loan officers in the United States. So it's been a great time working with her.
Yeah.
For myself, I like playing golf, a lot of golf. So I live locally, live right across the line in Indiana. Have married, don't know how many years I've been married, I have to ask my wife that. 2 kids, my son's birthday was yesterday, he turned 9.
Woo.
So yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah.
Aw.
I am so excited to share the stage with Brad. He's one of my favorite human beings and also a kick-ass loan officer. So, all right, now for the good stuff. I'll start with you, Tammy. Can you tell us a little bit about you, where you work, and anything else you want to share with everybody?
For sure, I'd love to. So my name's Tammy Grayson. I am a native of New Buffalo, which is a little rare. And from one stoplight downtown to casinos and now cannabis stores, it's changed a lot. But I still consider this my home and love it. I have been licensed in Illinois for over 7 years, and with Keller Williams, 1 Chicago. Michigan, 5 years at the Keller Williams Southwest Michigan office, and just this year I got licensed in Indiana. So, yeah, so might as well just go around the lake.
Yeah. Awesome.
And so I think, I saw the question about, one unique part about your real estate journey, and that's where it hasn't been easy for me. And at one point I was a server for many, many years, to the point I have 2 awesome boys that I didn't know if I was gonna put food on the table. I didn't know if I was gonna pay my rent. And, fast forward, here I am in my business. I'm set to sell over 15 million in volume, and my profit margin is close to 70%. And the reason I bring that up is, as a server for many years, I love to serve people. I love to help people, and I feel with that and real estate, they kind of go hand in hand. And so all that experience I've had all those years has, I really feel like, built my business to where it is today, with the care for people and the care for helping people. So
That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know how you're going to top that, Chad. But it's your turn.
Well, it's funny you say that. So I'm a native guy. I was grew up in Michiana Shores, Long Beach area. Went to Long Beach School for my 6th grade school. Moved out of the suburbs of Chicago. My family used to own Michiana Stables, so I grew up there. I was the the horse guy and the beach guy. It was a great place to grow up. And then I got very competitive into horse show jumping and took 2-3 years off from high school to go out east and see if I could make the Olympics. Wow. So it was jumping the high jumps, doing the dressage, cross country, stadium. But I started to realize that this is a dangerous sport. I've got friends that are in wheelchairs now and what have you. And it's very competitive. So I did get ranked 10th in the country back when I was 20. And I realized that I want to go back to college because I needed like 4 more horses than what I had. So somebody offered me a big money back in the late 80s, early 90s for this horse, like $150,000.
Wow.
And I cried all the way to Pennsylvania when I sold him. Mm-hmm. And 3 months later, he died over a horse in a competition. Wow. So it was a tough business, this horse business. So after that, I went to school at Purdue, started playing polo. We started the Purdue Polo Club, and realized that I bought another farm behind the Heston Bar. And I realized that was a great farm. I loved it, lifestyle. But all my clients, in fact, Oprah was one of our clients. Stedman used to come out. Wow. And I started realizing that these clients have some beautiful real estate. So I was sick of cleaning stalls. And I was like, I started rehabbing houses in Three Oaks over here. And I met my beautiful wife, Heather. We've married 30 years this November. Three daughters, so I'm in the women's club too. I got all the girls around me. But I realized that I want to get into real estate. So long story short, I sold my business. One of my clients had to move to Dallas. I did a market analysis. It was a $5.2 million lakefront in Lakeside. So that was 25 years ago. So really, it's all about your sphere of influence. So the whole reason for this story is realizing that your friends and your family and people that you've helped their kids grow up and become good horse show jumpers, all have good real estate. So really what it comes down to, real estate is a contact sport. It's like out there showing horses. I mean, it's competitive, it's fun. And so when I always think about if I'm having a bad day in the house, selling houses, at least I'm not cleaning 40 stalls, right? So basically that's how I got started, rehabbing some of the oldest houses in Three Oaks. One had the old pump in the kitchen, and now that pump is over on our mantle at our beach house down in Sawyer. So, and serving people, I worked through Purdue as a waiter at Mountain Jack's. If anybody's been to Mountain Jack's, I made a lot of money there. So. But no, it's a contact sport. We love what we do. We love helping people. And I can't say enough about the journey that we have with each client, right? So instead of selling horses, now I sell houses. It's one letter. But, so that's kind of my background. Is there any additional questions? Should I tell you?
You're free to brag a little more if you want.
Okay, so there is a question about how we sold, $140 million in a couple of years, and I've been with the same company since 1999. Wow. I've never switched. I've interviewed a lot, but it's all about waking up, looking at the hot sheet, finding out who your top 30 buyers are, and staying in contact. Sometimes the timing's not right, so they go down to the B list. You always have your A buyers, and just maintaining those. And then you got to maintain them after the closing. So again, it's a contact sport. Mm-hmm. I've been very fortunate throughout my career. We all had to start someplace, right? But each year we're starting at zero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't care how great. Last year we closed about $58 million in Indiana and Michigan. That was a great year. But this year we're starting off at zero.
Yeah.
So I love having events with old clients that you haven't seen, but you try to keep in contact with. They're all busy. My wife joined my team. We have a very small boutique team. It's me, my wife Heather, and then Sammy, my assistant, who's been with me for 10 years. So luckily I haven't pissed her off in 10 years. That's pretty good, having an assistant for 10 years. She's wonderful. She likes the back of the house. She does not like the show. And then every once in a while, we do get somebody who wants to join our team. And that's hard, to say yes or no to. So we've had a couple team members that have come, a couple that have gone, but we really haven't had, a big team. So I'm the listing person. I love talking about values of properties and also, how soon you want to sell. How long do you want to be on the market for, right? Like if we put it here, I think we're the only one that checks all these boxes. So long story short, we had our 25th year selling real estate in Harbor Country. We live the lifestyle. I love biking on the beach. I love being involved in helping all these bike trails around here. We're really helping people with the lifestyle of Harbor Country and Northwestern Indiana. So
Awesome.
I can't say enough about it.
Thanks, Chad.
My pleasure.
All right, best for last, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be hard to
That's what
top
they
that.
say.
It should have been first.
I know.
Speaking of Greek,
You got to do a dance or something.
I didn't wear the right shoes for that. But. So my name is Giorgios Karayannis. I'm with At Properties, Chris's International Real Estate, and I work out of Illinois and Indiana. I'm also with the Micky Gallas group, which I have to give an accolade and introduction to Micky, our leader here, who's been here in the business for over 40 years. Wow. So I work out of the Long Beach office, which is in the heart of Long Beach. And then also the Bucktown office in Chicago, because I live there currently. But my roots are actually from Michigan City. So I have a lot of strong ties to the community. My family was in the restaurant business. So I worked, like my fellow panelists here, in the service industry as well. One thing I pulled from there is that it was always about the experience. Transitioned into owning my own company, which was a food CPG company. So I used to sell food products to restaurants and grocery stores nationwide. From that, I really focused on branding and what that meant, and then my vision and mission. So I pulled the nugget from what branding means, the restaurant experience, the customer experience in the restaurant, and then transitioned into real estate about 7 years ago. It made it very easy and seamless because I did join Micky, which is a great mentor, not only backed and powered by At Properties, which I got behind their whole mission and vision and their technology and proprietary platforms that allow us to excel in our business and field. So ultimately, I could say that my journey and road to success has been a whole kind of a lifetime of experiences that I can then focus on the client and serving their needs and ultimately just providing them excellent service and the experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So a brief overview of how we typically structure our panel. So when you got your tickets for this event, we asked you to submit questions. So from there, I kind of pulled together what are the main topics that you guys want to hear about today. And so I chunked it into 2 main topics. Each question is going to be directed at someone specifically, but if someone else wants to jump in and add anything, you're more than welcome to. So a couple minutes per question if you can, that would be great. Okay. Topic number 1 is just real estate career development in general. And the first question is going to be for Miss Tammy. How did you grow your business to where it is today? And what systems or tools are you using to stay on track with your goals and staying meaningfully engaged with your clients?
Yes. So when I started in real estate, I didn't think of myself as a real estate agent. I thought of myself as a business person and running a business and the CEO of my business. And with that, you need a lot of people behind you to help guide you. And so with that, I have had some coaches that are absolutely really helped push me, accountability, just having that to be accountable. And then I also have something called the 36 Touch, where I stay engaged with clients, but the biggest foundation of my business has been lead generation. And with that, implementing, I would say, all the strategies, the different ways of connecting with clients. Because when you take the real estate license and you pass, I had no idea what I was doing. And so with that, having that foundation. So with lead gen, and there's different systems in place. So like, you have lead generation systems, you have listing systems, you have buyer systems, and you also have financial systems. And with that, implementing those in the very beginning of my business was a huge key component, I think, with having structure, and I really need that. And then when it comes to staying engaged with my clients, and as I said before, I love helping people. So one of the biggest things was with the 36 touch, it's staying in touch with my clients. And what that is I touch them 36 times through the year. And honestly, when I really look at it, it's probably closer to 50 times. And what that is, they get 2 emails, they get a postcard. I send out birthday cards with lottery tickets. I think the most somebody's won is like $5. It's the thought that counts,
It's the
right?
thought, yeah.
Homeversary cards. But I feel like the biggest part is the client appreciation events, because I really love my clients, and I would say the majority of them I become good friends with. So with that, I'm actually doing one here, thanks to Nina. Yeah, so we are doing an event here, and we're having art classes, wine tasting with a new winery that just recently opened up, slime making for the kids,
cute.
ice
Nice.
cream. But with that, offering value, inviting them, and with that, how I kind of structure that, I send out an email, we send out postcards. I call them, and even if they can't make it, I love connecting. And then after that, after the event, then I kind of like to create the FOMO thing of sending out an email with photos and all the things that we did. And I also send out cards thanking people. And so I do those twice a year. I do one now, and then one in the fall, I do mini photo sessions. And so with that, I love it because I get to see pictures of, them and their families, on my fridge, but then get to see them too. So
It's awesome. Thank you.
that's kind of how I structure it.
Your Instagram's unbelievable.
Thank you.
I don't know who's
Thank
running
you.
that.
That's my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is the fun part. I have 2 older sisters. One's my photographer, and then she does my social media and marketing. So yeah, we're a good team together.
Good plug, Chad.
So yeah.
All right, Chad, I think you touched on this a little bit, but let's let it rip. You closed over 140 million in sales between 2020 and 2021. What is the secret of scaling and building a team and be able to transit so much?
Yeah, I wish I had those years back. I think those were the COVID years, right? I mean, that's when everybody in the city, in Chicagoland, wanted out. But that's a lot of transactions. So, like I said before, we have a small group. We have 3, 4 at the most. But there was a time during that time that we could not open houses up. Do you remember in Michigan, the governor said, you cannot open houses up? So I was trying to always think outside the box, right? So you always have to think on your feet. I talked to my sellers, and I had my fat tire bike, and I had buyers coming out, and I opened up houses. I had proof of funds, and I talked to them on the phone as they went through the houses. Out with my bike helmet on, showing properties.
That's awesome.
So basically, to answer your questions, is that we always have hurdles on every market, right? COVID market was very, very good to most of us. I'm glad nobody that I knew got ill and what have you. But you just always have to think outside the box with every market we're in. I think we're having an interesting first quarter right now in this market. But going back to 21, 20 right there, it was a very special time. Realtors were calling on me saying that I was showing properties even though they were my rental properties. And no, I'm working on my rental property. So, so basically, long story short, it's always supply and demand. We are very fortunate to be in this area. Even when properties are sitting a little bit now, interest rates are a little bit higher. Historically, they're still great. So the point, to answer your question, instead of going around the block 5 times, each market has an opportunity to be a great market. So what we have to do as realtors, we have to help our clients, and we have to figure out how to make everybody happy. But if I could have, the next 5 years, like those 2 years in a row, it would be unbelievable. Even though we're having great years now, but it was just, people just needed to get out of the city. But that was fun. And we couldn't go to closings back then, remember?
No, we couldn't.
It was the best. It was like, okay, everything's good. All right. See you later. Call me if you need me. So I hope that answers,
Yeah.
How have you, I want to ask all of you this just really quick. I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat where, how did you reset your expectations after that time period? So, because obviously that might be the best market that you're ever going to see, the best numbers you're ever going to see. How do you come back from that years later? Like, how has that been mentally? Like, what have you been doing as far as goal setting since that time?
I'll say something real quick. My goal every year is to beat the year before, and it's just by $1. And in order to do that, you've got to just keep on riding the wave. And the people that couldn't find anything back then, because now we're low inventory, we got to really be ready, and just have, when you have, get people on, like you said, automatic emails. I mean, there's listings that happen in Indiana and Michigan that happen before I even know it, like midnight, right? So again, it comes back to that contact sport. It's coming back to finding the properties that were not successful a year before and trying to figure out if they're still interested in selling. And the buyers that weren't successful, just trying to keep them going too. So it is just one of those things that it's hard to take a day off sometimes,
Yeah.
But family first, taking care of your family, business second. So it's one of those things. You just got to keep on riding the wave.
And I'll also say, like, one of the things that one of my coaches told me, and I've really taken to heart this year, is when people invite you, show up. That's the hardest thing, is showing up. And I have found ways to meet people so much more naturally. I've never paid for a lead. And part of it is all relationships.
Yeah.
So I feel like this year is my year of saying yes.
Wow.
That's why you're here. That's why we're,
Yeah,
That's
why we're
it
here.
is,
Yeah.
but it is, and I feel like with that, I have built my sphere more. I have met more people.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
Well, this transitions perfectly to Giorgos' question about where does your business come from? And she mentioned, like, not ever necessarily paying for leads, but I know a lot of people do. Is that something that you found positive ROI on? And any lead sources that are working for you right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I went into the rabbit hole of paying for leads, which usually don't go anywhere. Even if you get one, maybe it makes it subsidize the fee that you pay for, but at the end of the day, you're just kind of chasing, it's kind of like a wild goose chase. So my business is primarily focused on my clients, past clients, or I don't call them past clients, but clients, and then work really making sure that I have intentional check-ins with those clients to then hopefully get referrals. So on the digital side, I have a social media team that I outsource. I'm not great at that side, but I realized when I was in owning my own company, branding was a real thing, and I knew we couldn't ignore the social media aspect. So I have a lot of work on writing blogs, SEO, so all kind of behind the scenes stuff that I don't touch, and I just really just focus on the intentional check-ins with my clients by sending either digital mailers, postcards. I've gotten clients just to say, you know what, for 5 years I received your monthly marketing mailer. And I didn't know anyone else, but because you stayed consistent with it, I want you to represent me, right? So those are the things that you kind of have your channels and your outreaches, and hopefully that then will turn and convert into a client. So I really just try to stay connected, stay top of mind. I do outreaches with industry partners such as Brad, Nina, you name it, throughout insurance. I do work with ChooseChad. I can't remember if he's still here, but so like Jacob out of St. Charles in Illinois, he's referred me clients. So I try to work and try to build relationships with people all around our industry to then hopefully garner referrals. But really focus on, as Chad mentioned, your sphere of influence. I don't think there's a better base for your customers and clients, and just, again, provide them the great service and build up on that relationship, whether it's customer appreciation events, and then just kind of put those systems in place and then gain some momentum, and hopefully, you are not having to pay for leads much more beyond that. So,
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to move into our next topic, which is the second home market, which is the overarching topic of today. And I think you three there's no better panel of people that could talk about working in maybe cross markets and having past clients that are moving up in their life, buying those vacation homes. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Brad, to kick off our first question of second home market.
All right, Tammy.
Yes.
Tell us how you decided to take on real estate in 2 markets.
3 now. Sorry.
Yeah,
That was
I
my
know.
bad.
I know,
Well,
sorry. No, I should let you know. No, it's fine. No. It's recent, so we're good.
Sorry.
What is the best part about selling in Chicago and in New Buffalo? And what is the hardest part?
So when it comes to me, expanding my business, I saw an opportunity, but I also love helping people. I'm from New Buffalo, I'm from Michigan, and I wanted to kind of have a strategy and a plan for my business, but also find a way to help people. My Chicago office didn't have a lot of Michigan agents. And so I saw an opportunity where I'm from the area, especially it was right around COVID. I saw that window and wanted to jump in there. So I was able to get licensed and get a lot of referrals from, from my office, which worked out really well. But it was also the thing, like, who would know the area better than someone that grew up there? And that showed a lot of value to my clients because I knew certain areas, even in Sawyer, I'm like, oh, you don't want to be over there, that's a private community, or, you can't rent there. And so I feel like when I did that, it really transitioned my business and it flowed really well together because most of the people that are buying in the area are from Chicago.
Yeah.
And then I have my Chicago clients, that's a whole nother opportunity if they're looking to sell or want to refer friends. When it comes to both markets and how different they are, I feel like they have their own heartbeat. And where the Chicago market is very different, people need to find a home. That's, they're going to be homeless. And as Chad brought up, like the ABC, I do that a lot, especially with my Chicago market, because the A's, they need to find a house right away. With the Michigan market, it's very different. I would say maybe 85%, but probably less are looking for second homes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, when the right one comes along. And so you set them up on a search, but when the right one comes along, it could be a couple years and they call you. But I think one of the things that's really helped me, and I'm super old school, I have a whiteboard that I literally update weekly, even daily. Yep. And I actually take a picture of that, send it to my coach. But, I have Excel sheets, Google Sheets, but that also really helps me kind of stay in the know of when it comes to the markets, the Chicago market pops a lot sooner, I would say, than the Michigan market. So, yeah.
Cool, thank you. I don't think a lot of Chicago, is there anybody in here that primarily works in Chicago? I don't think a lot of Chicago agents are here, but I'm hoping they're tuning in online because I think people are missing potentially an opportunity to grow their business and even scale income, in this area. I think it's so cool what all 3 of you guys are doing. Yeah. Okay, this one's for you, Chad. I feel like you kind of talked about this already, with every market having different challenges, being a different opportunity. But what trends are you seeing in the second home market right now? And how are you adapting your business to stay ahead of any challenges that this market brings?
Yeah, I think right now people are a little worried about interest rates being a little bit higher, and second home market, they don't have to buy, right? Yeah. So what we have to do is we have to provide a service saying this is a great value, And, you know, this property, if you don't jump on it, is probably will get multiple offers. And the reason is because the one 2 doors down did that as well. So what we have to do as their advocates is that we've got to say, listen, you've been looking for a while. This one's ready to go. Is your pre-approval letter all, you know, ready to go? Because you got to jump on this.
Yeah.
And in the second home market, like we said, people don't have to buy. Like this is a lifestyle. This is a luxury. But we just have to, you know, stay on top of them and be prepared. I think you should go in at full price, because if we don't get this in the first 24, 48 hours, we're going to have multiple offers because supply and demand. We're in low inventory still too. So you have to be even more aggressive on that. So on each property. And like you said too, Tammy, it's like, where are the places you could rent? What HOAs are now talking down rentals? So you have to be very careful and have that knowledge of what's going on with that. So, you know, long story short, I've been using my notes app on my phone, but before that I had my cool old leather binder and I would keep notes because, you know, when you're driving around and you have so much stuff going on and you've got to have a massage at 1 o'clock, you know, you've got to come back and be ready to sell afterwards. So, you know, and that's what this business is all about, is taking care of your clients, taking care of yourself and your family. So you got to be ready to go.
Ready to go. Awesome.
Giorgio.
Brad.
All right. Can you share how you structure your client experience differently for vacation home clients, especially those buying remotely or understand about which area they like to live in?
It starts with a Toyota Black Camry. But I think I should get a Tesla after driving through this parking lot. So essentially, I would say that, you know, to probably add on to what Tammy and Chad have already mentioned, is like really being kind of my approach would be more of a casual, and then depending on the niche, whether it's a luxury client or the first time second home buyer that may want to have some rental potential as well, to try to be a local ambassador and really knowledgeable about every nuanced beach community, let's say, because if we're talking about the second home market, it doesn't always mean that it's beach. It could be more of the rural side. So knowing the different dynamics that we have, and I think along the coast, it's so nuanced. Just from Indiana, as you probably may know, that you know, the rules to do short-term rentals is different. Building codes are different. You know, deeded beach rights are different. So really having that true understanding, knowing that. So when I have clients that are not familiar with the area, or they're just looking pictures online, we've done the remote stuff like Chad said during COVID. That's, you know, we would do FaceTimes. And then I ultimately would encourage our clients to really come out here and get the lay of the land. So I can be your boots on the ground, but you need to really get a feel for it. So you might be thinking of Long Beach, and that might be your, you know, your criteria, but then you can go experience Beverly Shores, that you get a little bit more land and more the nature side of things, where you can go hiking and the national dunes are next door. So there's all these different nuances, and I mean, all the way from the Michigan state line to the Illinois state line, there's just nuanced kind of niche neighborhoods that might be more appealing that these clients are not thinking of. So I think really truly owning in on the differences and, you know, where those criteria come in outside of like budget, and, you know, really then focus outside of the budget and property specs is their lifestyle. What are they looking for? They're looking for lazy days at the beach? Are they looking for more active to go get a round of 18 in and then drive their golf cart to the beach? And I'll give you for an example. Last week, I had a client that said, oh, there's a house that was a little bit farther away from the beach. And they said, oh, we can just take our golf cart and park it there. I said, you can't park your golf cart here, you know, so you might have to ride your bike. So knowing those little delicate kind of information, I think, is really helpful. So I think by, you know, driving them around, understanding the nuances of each different neighborhood is really, really valuable for them. And then they can figure out, is this where I want to live or where I want to be, or do I want to make this second home purchase? So I think that's really valuable, and kind of what I hopefully portray to my clients, realizing that a second home market in Indiana is really a good opportunity.
Follow up to this, and all three of you are going to answer, but I want to start with kind of where you're going with this, Giorgio. What, in your opinion, What vacation markets in the area are best for a first-time second home buyer?
This is directed
Yeah.
to me? Okay. I mean, I would say, Sheridan Beach, Michigan City. I mean, during COVID, it'd be probably hard, north of 12, we always say, is that to get into the price point, depending on the price point, 500 or less was probably unattainable. Now there's probably an opportunity for that. And so there's those little pockets that could be more affordable. They have that, hey, we can get a few days on the weekend as a getaway, and then also then maybe, kind of subsidize with some short-term rental income. So I think, Sheridan Beach right now is probably, where you can get into it under 500,000. I think is a good opportunity for a lot of first-time vacation home buyers.
Awesome. What about you, Tammy?
So I prepared before. I'm a preparer.
It's on our whiteboard.
I did.
My whiteboard.
I was. And so when I read this, I had to think about it a little bit. And it's a really good question. And I think it really depends on your client's needs analysis and their one thing. And so when you really look at it, someone can say, I want to use it as a short-term rental. And as Chad was saying, there's so many areas that, you can't do that. And they need that to actually purchase the property because they need the income. Or say they're like, oh, we want a house on Lake Michigan in New Buffalo. I'm like, okay, well, your purchase price isn't going to be $500,000. But I would say the average with a lot of my buyers a lot of times is closer to 500. But with that, I take all that information and we find what's the one thing that matters the most to them. And speaking of the one thing, I love the One Thing book. I have a whole bunch of them back there. So if you would like one, have them for free. But that's really helped me with my business too. But when we figure out their one thing, I set up a whole, we have the search, we have a whole plan and strategy. And each client's different. Mm-hmm. You have someone that wants a little lake house. You have someone that wants farmland. And you have someone that just wants an income property and will maybe come out once a year. So I think that's, it's a good question. It made me think about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Your turn.
I like the pros and cons list, right? Go down, have a glass of wine, have a beer, talk it over with your partner. Find out, what your pros and cons are per each property. I love it when people come here and they stay at a friend's house or they rent a property and they say, Chad, I only want to be in this area. But it has to be woodsy, but it has to be close to the beach. Mm-hmm. So, downtown harbor area here is not going to work, right? Unless you're kind of in a far reaching. This is not exactly what you wanted, but it has woods. So it's interesting. People always say, I don't want to be in Sawyer. And I'm like, I love Sawyer. I live there.
I love it too.
We're next to the 2,000 acres of the Warren Dunes State Park. You should really spend a day there. So we're really educating people what they don't know, right? And it could be their finances, but it also could be what they don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I think it's kind of more than just the one thing, but even though I will read that book,
I'll
but
give you one.
it's a pros and cons. It's a pros and cons of what you want, right?
Yeah.
And what's been happening now, every time you wake up and you look at the hot sheet, you're seeing, what are you seeing? You're seeing price reduction.
It's very true.
I mean, 40 price reductions. And it's interesting how there are some properties that may be more affordable now.
I agree. Yeah.
So basically, I love it when the clients, and we have to sometimes educate them, and we know what they want. They say they know what they want, but they really don't know what they want.
No, they don't.
Until they touch and feel it.
Yeah.
So that's what makes our job really interesting.
So do you set your clients up with this Airbnb would be good and you can stay here and it'd be
Yeah.
awesome? Yeah, that's
Yeah, in fact, I have somebody staying in a house that they want to write an offer on.
Wow.
So that's the best.
Yeah, that's
You know,
awesome.
you should stay there. And then, what's happening too is that, this is your price range, but let's write an offer. Yeah, we're going to be 10% less than asking, but let's see. We don't really know how motivated these sellers are, right?
Yeah.
And even going back to when they purchased it. It's really interesting seeing pre-COVID what people have purchased properties for.
Yeah.
And then you see them now what they're going in the market for. And then everybody knows what they pay for it. And I said, listen, that was then, this is now.
Yeah.
And then that property checks all the boxes. It has a pool, it has a deeded beach access, it's rentability. You're gonna get multiple offers on this. Chad, I can't go full price. I said, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
So, it's a fun time in the business. And I think the market is actually barking to us right now.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, it is barking. The properties that have been sitting for 90 days are telling us that we're priced too high. So I always tell the clients, go for it. I mean, you could always spend a little bit higher. Mortgage rates are a little bit higher, but historically they're not. You're going to marry the property, but you're going to date
The rate.
The rate.
the rate.
I love that.
Did you say that or did I say that?
I said it, I finished it.
But I love it. I love it. So,
I got excited
so
about
that's what makes that's what makes this this second home market so interesting because 2 blocks over may be the place.
it. Yeah.
But I don't want to be there, Chad. Well, you should look over here. So it is fun. It is fun. Did I answer your question?
You did.
Good.
You did a great job.
Good.
This is your opportunity to ask whatever you'd like to 3 top producers. So if anybody has questions, please go ahead, raise a hand.
Ben, I got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chad, based what you were just saying, I was talking with yesterday with a, probably know him, he owns a ton of large rental properties, huge one, and we were talking about, I bought my house, I live by Camp Buffalo on Griffith before COVID, and we were talking about like looking up Zillow and the appreciation is ridiculous, right? Like I would never pay what our house is appraised for right now. So this guy was saying that that's going to start dropping dramatically all the way up to like 40%. And I was curious what you all think about that. So like I'm a dad, I we picked up our over there because it's by the school, but also being what we do for a living, like 40% is a huge drop. Like, should we be considering this? Like, is this real? Like, not selling, but like, is there a large loss of appreciation coming our way?
I will say that you are smart buying what you purchased. You're surrounded by great schools. All my daughters, we have 3 daughters, went through these schools and they're fantastic. A lot of my second home market clients, I told them, get out of the city. Make your second home your main home. And they love the schools. So I think you hear a lot of stuff in the Wall Street Journal. You hear a lot of things about, we have a lot of inventory, prices are going down 30, 40%. We are very fortunate that that is not happening in our area. And like the one that sold for $1 million over on Swans Way, it was 2.3. They had 3 offers in 24 hours. It checked everybody's boxes. And there are a lot of people out there that are doing really well in the markets. The markets go up, the markets go down. The markets were a little scary at the first quarter. I'm like doom and gloom. And now they're back up. So I don't think that's going to happen in our Northwest Indiana, Southwest Michigan area. I don't think you're going to have 40% down. Now, trust me, if it was 40% down, we would be buying 10 of them. But it's, you know what I'm saying?
Others like, yes,
It's
we would.
just not going to happen here. We have, it's,
Yeah.
So it's just like when the market dips, go buy. I don't think it's going to happen here in our area. So I hope that answers your questions.
Do you guys have anything to add to that at all?
I just wish I had a crystal ball, but
Yeah.
My crystal ball's foggy, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah.
What are you seeing from sellers right now as your conversations? Are they apprehensive to sell? What's your just view on the market from the seller side?
So I think it's a good time to buy if we're low inventory. If there's 5 houses similar to our sellers, then we really have to talk about what the pricing is going to be, because it's all about pricing and positioning, right? And I don't want to lose a listing to Nate, because Nate will get the listing and I won't, because I don't want to be saying it's doom and gloom. But in 30 days, if we don't get any offers, maybe we're priced 10% too high, right? So I will do my market analysis. I will go to the houses. I love going in people's attics and going in people's crawl spaces. Yes, because if you don't do that, you're gonna get kicked in the fanny in your home inspection. And you hear that 4-letter word, mold. I get a lot of listings for going into crawl spaces. It's great. That's your tip of the day. Yes, right. Flashlight. So the bottom line is, pricing is everything. And if it sits, and then and I can't stand not getting a listing, and then watching it sit, and then 90 days later they're at my price I said we should start at.
Oh yeah.
It happens a lot. But so now I'm like, oh man, I walk away with the dog with the tail between the legs. I didn't get that listing. So I think it's really important to talk about. Let's try it. In 30 days, you write it in the listing agreement. If it doesn't sell, we're going to go to this price. Mr. Seller, it's been 30 days. No offers. It's time. Line number 30. It's time to do it. Ready? Yes, Chad. So that's the tough thing. But you could push the envelope in a lot of other properties, like lakefronts. Where are the good lakefronts at nowadays? So there is a client that was looking for 4 years. The house on Marquette came on the market for $6,250. I said, this is your house. It's an Oren Pical house. Go in full price. Don't even negotiate. It's coming furnished. It's great. We got under contract, 48 hours. And after that, another offer came in for $750,000 higher. So that property was priced too low. I mean, it was huge. It had a pool. It's part of Marquette. They had the Long Beach, all that long. So they are really excited about what they purchased. So it goes both ways, right? So pricing is very fun in today's market.
Any other questions?
I don't care who answers, but if I agree with you, 40%, that's recession time. So
Yeah.
we're not doing that. But
Yeah.
I do think we have a softening, and having that softening, what percent do you guys see both Indiana and Michigan? Or in your mind, you may not get your sellers to act immediately. I know when we get a property that says 30 days, we're going to encourage 10%. But where do you think we really are? Because I believe we're in a soft market. Not doom and gloom at all. But we were so elevated that what's real now?
Right. You go.
I mean, I'm definitely seeing a softening, but I also feel like I have some clients that bought, in 2020, and they are really pushing the envelope too, and they're sitting. But I have listings sitting, and I think at least 10% right now. But it's also, like Chad said, it's a pricing strategy. But I am seeing, even buyers, they're slowing down, and properties are sitting, and you sit on the hot sheet and you're like, oh, that one was marked down, that one. And I even have some clients that are selling their Airbnbs, and they're still getting income, but they just want to be done with them. And we got kind of a crazy low offer, and they're like, we're considering it, because they just kind of are ready to be done. And I think so many people came here during COVID as a place to get away. And even, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how long this would go on for. And so now they're like traveling Europe, and they're like, okay, we're done.
And those
Michigan's great, but
and those are the guys, sellers, buyers that we need to call.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what you've been doing. Hey, how's it going in your COVID house?
Yeah. It is. That's what it is.
What it
And
is.
yeah, and they're
So
hardly
what's
coming
your
back.
percentage? What's
Yeah.
what's your specific percentage? Are you going to answer that question?
I said 10, around 10%
Yeah.
right now.
I think it all depends from like last year to this year, depending if appraisals. So if you're looking at last year to this year, I think some properties are about 10% down.
I think at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm only gauging what I know, but
Yeah.
we're all saying it's down.
Yeah.
We're all saying it's down, but then you have those weird houses, pool, beach,
Yeah.
Yeah.
blah,
Yeah,
the unicorn.
They are the unicorn
I use that all the
houses.
time, and that's a
Everybody
positive
wants.
unicorn or a negative unicorn. Ah, you got a unicorn. Oh, you got a unicorn. You know, like one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think 10 to 12. Yeah.
And I think it depends, there's so many variables too, because if the interest rate, drops dramatically, I
Yeah.
think,
But especially if they're dated. If they're dated,
yeah.
and you've got the old pink carpet, and there's no way that you're going close to something that's updated. South Cove is a great example. Something updated sells. Boom. Something that needs to be gutted. Ooh. So, and I tell everybody, Chad, we should go higher. No, we'll be lucky to get this. You haven't updated your house since the 80s. So it's one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was amazing. Thank you guys so much for your time and everything. Thank you so much. Thanks.
I like this power hour. This is your idea?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Before
that's
we
awesome.
go eat and drink and network again, I just want to say a couple things to wrap up. So let this be the official hard launch that A&N is here, and we're here to not disrupt in a bad way, but be the unicorn mortgage company in town, and we're very excited for what's to come and what we have to offer this market here. Nina, our CEO, has been here for 20, how long have you had the house?
Since 02, and Micky was our listing agent on that.
Well, there you go. So we're here, we're boots on the ground, and I think what you're gonna find is that we do things very differently in the best way than what you might be used to. So we're excited to, bring you guys together as a community, and we'll see you in a couple months, hopefully. I think we're gonna do another one, hopefully in August. But if anyone is interested, we do have another Power Hour in Chicago on June 12th. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested in coming to the city. And then we also have some monthly networking events that we've been hosting here. And our goal is just bringing small businesses together, mutually beneficial environment for everybody to network and support one another. So thank you guys so much for being here. Please get some sandwiches, coffee, and we'll see you again soon. Will you get a group photo, Christian?
You want
Thank
us to
guys
stand
so
up
much.
or sit down?
You had fun?
Okay.
Fun.
Good, yeah, yes.
Yeah, a lot of fun.